Today I'm going to ask you, do you really need a bug out bag?
Every once in a while, I have to remind myself to keep it real with prepping. Because, sometimes you get into the various disaster scenarios or apocalyptic events that people talk about, and you kind of do the, oh my God, type of prepping. But reality is that probably isn't needed and probably isn't the best way to spend your time thinking about all these negative type things. So I want to talk to you a little bit about something that seems to be, you have to have a bug out bag if you're a prepper, it seems like. That's one of the things that you first, when you get into prepping, you have to get gear and you have to make kits, right? And one of those kits is generally a bug out bag. Now, it kind of gets confused because the bug out bag gets confused with, an inch bag, I'm never coming home, or a go bag, which is more of a 72-hour kit. But I think for most people, the bug out bag is more of a go bag. 72 kit to a week type bag. Now, we're all told we have to have this bag because we need to grab it at a moment's notice when we have to flee our home. I can't help but ask, how often do you only have a moment's notice to flee your home? Okay, I have had a house fire, and yes, I had to get my kids out as fast as I could. And to be honest, the 72-hour bag wasn't on my mind back then. I didn't even have one, but the idea was to get humans and possibly pets safely out of the house. If you think of a hurricane, generally you have advance warning. You usually have advance warning that flooding may occur. Something like an earthquake or a tornado, you might not have any warning, and it happens, but depending on where you are located when it happens, you may not be able to get at your bug out bag or your go bag. Now, if you get a notice that it's a chemical spill or for some reason you're not supposed to stay in your house for a nuclear type accident, then you might have time to grab that bag, go and get in your car, and hopefully not get in a traffic jam, right? When you're bugging out. But for most emergencies, we do have a little time. That's why sometimes I think maybe bugging out modules make more sense. I'll put a video here, it's my travel module, but in case all of a sudden I got a call that maybe something happened to one of my grandkids or my kids and they're over an hour away, I can just throw together what I need in this kit. It's modular, and I have enough for a couple overnights or what I need to do. And part of that kit is a list, so it kind of lists. So it reminds me what I have to take, because I also use it for travel. What can go on an airplane, what can't, that type of thing. So that modular system works pretty well, and generally you do have time to throw something together. Doesn't always have to be pre-packed in a bag. And I know I'm being, that's heresy from what everybody thinks, but the honest truth, it is rare when you need to grab a bag and go immediately. Maybe if you've done something wrong with the law and they're coming to get you, you have to hurry up and flee. But for most events I can think of, you do have some notice to get things together. Now, the other thing I think to keep it real, most people talk about bug out bags, and you shouldn't have something that's heavier than what you can carry and blah, blah, blah. But again, I don't know about you, but my idea of bugging out is to grab stuff, put it in my car, and go somewhere. And it could be, maybe it could be a hotel, maybe it could be a family member's cottage up north, or, some other place. Maybe we'd put everything in our truck camper and just go and stay at a state campground, something like that. But chances are, I am not going to go actual walking for great distance with a bag. To me, that means I'm more of a refugee, which is something I don't want to be. Now, yes, maybe that one, that EMP happens and the car doesn't work. Although there's some saying that many cars will work. That's not true. I mean, none of us really knows what would happen for an EMP. So then maybe you are stranded. But in most cases, if you are stranded in your car, you got your cell phone will work, and you call AAA or a family member, and they take care of you. Again, generally, you are not having to hike a lot of miles to get somewhere. So again, keep it real for prepping. What are you really going to do? In my case, it is not put a big heavy pack on and march into the woods and live on grubs and the fish I catch or whatever. That is not my idea of bugging out. It would probably be going up to my brother's cottage, parking our camper, and having a lot of fun with family. And really, in most cases, I wouldn't bug out. I'd stay in my house, okay? There are a few cases where you might have to leave, and if you live in a heavily populated city, you may want to get out if there is civil unrest, or other, maybe terrorist action, that type of thing. But basically for me, I would bug in most cases. Again, unless I had a fire, there was a chemical spill nearby, or there was some radiation exposure and we had to leave. Otherwise, I've been in my house for 4 days without any power when it was 0 degrees outside and we had no water. Well, no, the well wasn't working. I shouldn't say we didn't have water. And you know what? We did just fine. Was it fun? No, it wasn't. But we were okay. I would not even bug out in that type of situation. So I want you to keep it real. And I think there's too much emphasis on what you got to do to bug out, where you got to go, and maybe, okay, I'm going to offend the men a little bit, but maybe this is the testosterone part of prepping. I don't know. Maybe the man wants to flee to protect the family, and maybe the woman wants to stay home to protect the family. I'm not sure. All I know is to keep it real for bugging out. For me, I want to keep it real. So I do always carry some things in my car. I have them there all the time in case something would happen. Really, chances are I would hardly ever need any of that, except maybe if I got stuck in the snow, the shovel and the salt would come in handy. If something happened and I did Elvis and tore my jeans doing something outside, I have an extra pair of jeans. Or I forgot to pack a coat or boots in the winter, I have that in the car. Those type of things come in handy. But for an actual bug out bag, I really don't think I'll ever need it. I mean, I have this that I carry all the time in my car. And again, I have a video here if you're interested. It's a water bottle kit, which I think is great, and I could carry this for a lot distance. I could also carry this if I'm hiking, or I could wear the vest I have if I did have to. I don't know, maybe there was so much traffic that we had to run out of gas and you had to pull over, right, if you're bugging out. So then I do have some options. But to be honest, I think most of us would hardly ever use these options. And spending so much time on the perfect items for your bug out kit and so much money, do you really need that high of a powered flashlight for your bug out kit when chances are you're never going to need it? Again, I think sometimes that's the hobby side of prepping instead of the realistic prepping. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. What do you think? Do you really need a well-equipped bug out bag that you can hike into the wilderness with? Or do you just need some key items to have with you in the car? Basically a travel bag with maybe some food and water. This is Prepper Potpourri saying, I am interested in what you think on this subject because, as you can see, I'm a little disillusioned with a lot of what I read. So please, comment below, let me know what you think. Thumbs up if you like this video, and as always, thank you so much for your support.